Hi guys, Michael here, and yes, when I introduce myself with my name, that means this isn't a React video or what I class as a normal video I do. This is more of a personal video. So, there's a couple of things I need to talk to you about. One I want to talk to you about, and one I need to. So, one of them is I just want to address again why I gave Dimash 10 on Uptown Funk, because some people are still confused about it. And I don't blame them. I'm not knocking it. It's fine. I do understand. It's easy to me how I do my scoring, but it can be confusing to others. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a little bit more in depth and explain it to you and explain why you got a 10. I tried to explain it in the video a little bit. I tried to explain it in the comments of that video, but I think I failed in some way. Well, so I'm going to go explain it a little bit better in a way that I think everybody will get. And then I'm going to talk about the reason I'm taking at least a week off of YouTube, which I'll explain. If you're not interested in this part about Uptown Funk or the scoring thing, or you're fine with it, you'll find a timestamp in the description that will take you to the second part of this video, and will explain the week off thing. If you are interested or you're still questioning it, then please listen on. Or if you're just interested now in the scoring thing I do, then just listen on still. So let's get into it, because I don't want to make this video a long video, and it probably will be, knowing me. So let's just do it. So the best way I can explain this is I need to start this way. Only one of Dimash videos has ever got a proper 10. Okay? And that is SOS. No other Dimash song, I should say, has ever got a proper 10 when I've finished scoring. So, for example, SOS scored a 10. Opera 2 scored a 10.5. Sinful Passion scored a 14. Autumn Strong scored a 13.5. That's what I'm explaining. You see, the reason SOS scored a 10 is because that was the benchmark. I'd never heard Dimash sing before. When I was contacted by the few dears that contacted me, I'd never heard any songs of him. I'd never even heard his name. I didn't know what he sang. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know anything. So I needed a benchmark, to understand him. And that's what SOS was. And it was a surprise. It truly was a surprise that he got a 10. Because there was nothing to help. When I say this, you'll understand. There was nothing to help him. It was a pure 10. And that was a surprise to me. But the reason he scored exactly a 10 is because that was the benchmark. That gave me my introduction to Dimash, his style, his skill, his technique, and everything. Okay. So now let's move on to Opera 2, just to give you an example. Now, when I went into Opera 2, knowing what I knew about Dimash now, and what he could do, I didn't know the song. So what I'd do is I put a checklist together, like a list of things that I know the singer is capable of. Like, let's say it's a D6 in a song. Well, that means in the next song, if he hits another D6, then that is just me. Then that is just what's expected. I'll take it off the list. Will he hit a D6? Will he hit, like a high note up to a D6? And if he does, then it gets checked off the list. And I just check things off the list. Will he use vibrato? Will he use staccato? Will he do this? Will he do that? Because usually I don't know the song. And I have this list of things, and when they get ticked off, usually a singer who I normally know would get between a 9 and a 9.5 with everything ticked off. And then that's where it usually stays, because the checklist I've usually set up I usually know the singer and the song or something like that. So the checklist I've usually set up is usually can be ticked off, but they didn't do anything else special, anything else stand out, anything outside the box. They just basically did what my list of my checklist kind of thing was, and they ticked them all off. So they get a 9 or a 9.5. See, with Dimash, when I heard SOS, I got in my mind, right, so this guy does staccato, vibratos, and, he can do crescendo, diminuendo, and all this kind of stuff. And I put this checklist together. And we went into opera 2. Now, for opera 2, he ticked all boxes. And again, he scored a 10. Natural talent. His natural talent is insane. And usually, like I say, a person's natural talent will only get him to a 9 or 9.5. His gets him a 10, even if he just does the checklist. If he just ticks all those, he'll get a 10. But I gave him a 0.5 bonus for the staccato he did at the high end, near the end of the song. So then we move on to Sinful Passion. He did some incredible notes there. A lot of moving about, being in his mix, being in his head voice, and the notes he were hitting. And especially his mix, he went up to a crazy high place with his mix. And then there was that 25-second run. And it was just a lot of things involved. And then, of course, that part that made me feel sad. And that too. And all that together gave him... He scored a 10 for checking everything off the list. But he scored 4 bonus points, which is actually very high for me. 4 bonus points for other things he did in the song. So he ended up with a 14. But since I was scoring out of 10, then he got a 10. So that's how my scoring works. What you do in a previous song then comes through to the checklist of the next song. So, I mean, I didn't take like that kind of run thing he did that made me kind of feel sad. I didn't expect to hear that in every other song he did, and it's kind of put on the checklist at the bottom just lightly. In other words, if he does it, and he does it very similar to what he did in Sinful Passion, then he won't really get any bonus points for it, because it's like, well, I've heard that before. But if he does something new with it, but it's still the same thing, I'd probably still give him bonus points. It's when you think outside the box, which is why this is perfect for Dimash, because, my way of scoring, because he thinks outside the box a lot, so he tends to get bonus points. Autumn Strong, again, that just things he did in that gave him, he got a 10, and he got a 3.5 bonus points. So, which one was it? So then, anyway, I'm not going to go through them all, but you can understand by now how I work. So I do a list in my mind. It's not written before me. I know it in my head. And when I hear things, vibrato, staccato, diminuendo, crescendos, and all this, I'm ticking things off the list. When the list is completely ticked, boom, he's got a 10. That's it. But then if he starts doing things outside of the box that adds bonus, then I add bonus points on. So in a way, he could literally score a 9 and still end up with a 12. Because if he gets a 9 but 3 bonus points, he's going to get 12. So the bonus points are just things that he puts on that weren't on my list because he hasn't done them before in a previous song. And I think people should be rewarded for thinking outside the box and doing something extra. So when he does some, like for Autumn Strong, as much as I said I didn't think that was the right ending, I still scored him bonus points for that thing where he didn't put the mic to his mouth right at the very end, and he just opened his arms and it was incredible that he hardly lost any sound at all. It were like he still had the mic to his mouth almost. He lost a little bit of sound, but hardly any. It was incredible, and that's why I can't understand why people got upset about it. I didn't say I didn't like what he did. I just said that that I didn't think it was right for the ending there. If you understand what I'm saying. But I did enjoy it still. So he got bonus points for that. And he ended up on 3.5 bonus points, so he got 13.5. Okay, so now let's come to Uptown Funk, right? Now, I don't judge Uptown Funk the same as I judge other songs, because I know the song and I know the singer. And when I know the song and the singer, the checklist is different. Because now it's a checklist of things I want to feel from the song itself, knowing the song, and of course some things I want the singer to do. Right. So Uptown Funk is not a song for incredible technical vocal skill. It isn't. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be a song that just gets people on the feet, or at least bounced up and down, clapping along, having fun, getting excited, singing along, and all this kind of thing. It isn't meant to be an excellent or professional vocal performance with great technique. It's not meant for that. It's meant to just get you excited and happy and reacting, in a great way, or in the way I do, I laugh. Oh yeah, I better cover that because I did get one or two mention about me laughing at videos. That's my reaction. That's what I do, and I think each one said the same thing. Laughing isn't normal. Okay, that's fine. But who said that were normal? I mean, it kind of confused me that people are talking about, are kind of saying about not normal when you're following a guy who completely isn't normal. People normally only have a 3, maybe 4 octave range. He has like a 6 or 7. You're following a guy who's got technical skill like you wouldn't believe. You're following a guy who isn't normal. So why are you putting normal on me? I just react that way. I always have. When I'm excited, when I'm having fun, when I'm having a good time, I laugh. That's why you'll hear me laugh, because that means I'm having a good time with what I'm doing. And of course, sometimes if I'm shocked at something somebody does, I'll laugh again because it's just like, oh my God, wow, and it's just a shock moment. It makes me laugh. That's how I am. So the laugh thing is just, you're going to have to accept it. That's just how I am. But it means I'm having a good time, if that's any help. Anyway, so I came into Uptown Funk knowing what kind of song it was and knowing what I wanted from it. I didn't expect any technical stuff or high notes or crazy things or lots of staccatos and all this stuff, or I didn't expect any of that, because that's not what the song's about. The song is about just having fun, getting people on the feet, right? So I put the checklist together and the song starts. It's got the energy, check. Is it, am I getting into the song? Check. Am I singing along? Check. Am I clapping along? Check. Am I bouncing around in my chair? Check. All these things. I'm doing all these things, and I'm checking list stuff, right? Is on key. Is tones perfect? Everything's great. So of course he ticks off all the boxes, and he scored a 9.5. So no, in reality, Dimash didn't get a 10. He got a 9.5. But here's the but. Right at the end, if he'd have just sang it normally, he'd have scored a 9.5. But right at the end, he hit those high notes. High notes that weren't on my list because I wasn't expecting them. Did I know he could do them high notes? Of course, yes. Did I expect them? Absolutely not. Remember, this guy had been jumping around the stage for 3+ minutes, singing Uptown Funk. And he was all over the stage, moving about, swinging about, jumping about, doing spins and all sorts of things. And he was never still. He must have been out of breath. But even out of breath, he hit 3, I think it was 3, I don't know. But he hit some perfectly pitched, technical high notes that had great breath support, even though he'd been jumping all over the stage. That was impressive. You might not have thought so, but to me, trust me, that was impressive. Because imagine being out of breath and trying to hit them high notes like that. He hit them perfectly. Perfectly. Perfect pitch, perfect technique. Everything was perfect about them. After jumping about on stage all that time, that was really, really impressive. So what happened? He got bonus points because high notes weren't on my list. He got 1 point in bonus points. So he ended up with a 10.5. So there you go. Did he score a 10 originally? No, he scored a 9.5. But with the point of bonus he got for them high notes right at the end, if he hadn't done them high notes, I promise you he'd have got a 9.5 and that's it. But because he did them high notes, he got bonus and that carried him over to 10. So yes, he scored a 10. Well, carried him over to 10.5, but he scored a 10. So yes, I hope that explains it. And now next time I hear him sing an English song that I know, I'll put in that he might put high notes into it. So that'll be in the checklist. So then if he does it again next time, he won't get bonus points for it because I'm already expecting it. Do you see what I'm saying? The things he does in previous videos can move forward to the next video. Certain things will. From each previous video, I take certain things and move them forward to the next video, to the next time I hear him. So if he does high notes like that in another video that's English, then he won't get bonus points for it because I'm already expecting it. But this time he did get bonus points because I wasn't expecting it. So that's how I score it. I don't know if that's complicated or not, but that's how I do it. So it was his bonus points that got him to 10, not the actual song. There you go. I hope that explained all that, because I don't want to go through it anymore. It is what it is. It's a 10. Just accept it. Okay. Second thing. Okay, let me get into this. So to explain this, I'm going to have to go back to January of this year. This is the more personal one. I don't want to go into too much detail, and I'm not going to, but I will go into enough to make you understand why I'm taking a short break. So back in January this year, for some reason my blood sugar started going a bit weird, and I ended up on the verge of diabetic. Don't know why. I eat healthy. I don't mind exercise at all. It's throws me. It even through nurse that had the results. She said, I don't know why it is where it is. It should be fine. But it where my body was just going weird for some strange reason. So I was on the verge of being diabetic, literally on the line. The number that they give for diabetes, I was exactly on that number. I was on in between it. I was kind of just between not and yes. So what we decided was, after talking, that after a couple of months, I'd have another blood test and see how my body was then. And if it had got worse and my blood sugar for some reason kept rising, then I'd go on to medication, and we'd just sort it from there. So then something hit called pandemic, and that hit, and of course the world went weird. And the doctors I see, the place that that I go to see the doctors, they basically close the doors and won't let anybody in. Just shut up shop. Done. They'd let you in if you were basically having a heart attack at the time or a stroke. Yeah, in other words, you had to basically be 3/4 dead before you could get an appointment. And I actually rang up and I said to them, this was in March now, because January was when I had the first results, and then we were leaving it a couple of months. I had no medication or anything, and I rang them up and I said, I need to have a blood test in this month, because it was March now, because I was on the verge of diabetes and needs to be checked. And they basically said, we're not doing routine things like blood tests, which to me is an absolutely retarded thing to say, because some blood disorders are terminal. So to say it's a routine thing, that routine things are completely stupid. But they basically said they're not doing routine things like blood tests. So that were it. And every time I tried, I got shut down. So now come forward to present day now. About a week ago, just over a week ago, I got a call, and it was about flu jabs. We get free flu jabs if you've got certain illnesses. And because it was in my record that I was on the verge of diabetes, they said to me, you get a free flu jab, just come on up. Well, remember, I couldn't get up to there. So they weren't letting anybody in unless it were really, really bad. So I saw this as my chance to get through the door. So I went up for this flu jab. And when I went in to see the nurse to get the flu jab, I explained to her about the diabetes thing and the results, and not getting any, and not being able to get in for the last 6 months. 6 months had passed, and I couldn't get another blood test. So she said, okay, we'll give you a blood test. And I'm like, oh, thank God, finally. So I had the blood test. Now, to give you an idea how it works, if the nurse gets in, the quicker the nurse gets in touch with you, the kind of worse it is. So if the nurse doesn't get in touch with you at all and you end up ringing up for your results, then trust me, there's nothing. You'll have nothing showing. If they ring you back after like several days or a week, it just means they're going to ask for another blood test in a month or two, because they might have had a little something come up. With me, they rang me back the next day, so I knew it weren't going to be the best. And basically, my blood sugar has gone a lot higher. because I wasn't getting medication, because I couldn't get any tests done, my blood sugar went high. And it's at a point where it needs to be focused on. So I was talking to the nurse, and and there's more blood tests coming, and medication I've got to get sorted out on. And the nurse basically said, one thing you need to do is just relax. Just chill out for a couple of weeks. Just do nothing that causes, you to get worked up in any way. Just relax. The problem is with YouTube, you guys have already pointed it out. I put a lot of emotion in. Good or bad, I get very invested. And I'm not supposed to get kind of in that way right now. I'm not supposed to be getting all excited or in any way, good or bad. I'm just supposed to be chilling, because I've got to focus on my health. Now, usually when it comes to health, I always say to people, you have to follow it, because you can try and power through, but you could end up making yourself worse, and then you'll just have to have an even longer break. So I tend to just get it done. Now, the nurse did say 2 weeks, for 2 weeks, but I think a week is enough. A week should be enough. So I don't think it'll be 2 weeks, unless things get really bad. Then it might be 2 weeks, but otherwise it'll be a week if I can help it. So that's where we are. I don't know anything else. I can't tell you any much else. I've got more blood tests coming. I've got medication to have to sort out, and then the medication's quite strong, so I'm gonna have to chill and relax, and and just kind of focus on my health while my body starts to come back to normal. It's not just my blood sugar either. There's a couple of things that were a knock-on effect from not being treated with it. So I've got to focus on a few things, and that's it. So that's why I'm going to be taking at least a week off. I just didn't want to just not say anything and you guys not know. I'm not even supposed to be doing this video, but I just wanted you to know that. So if I'm going for another week or two at most, then you know why. Also, it'll probably be easier for me to keep updated my Twitter rather than do a new video. There's a link to my Twitter in every video. If you want to see any updates I do, then you can join my Twitter. You can follow me. I mean, it's up to you. This isn't a ploy to get followers. Trust me, on Twitter. I don't post enough on Twitter to deserve a lot of followers anyway. But I'm just saying, if any of you are interested or want to know how things are going, or want to DM me or anything, then you'll have to do it on Twitter, because I don't really have a Facebook. That's another story. That weren't nice either. So anyway, but the point is, I don't really have a Facebook or Instagram. I usually just have Twitter. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can there. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. So anyway, I just want to let you know, so you weren't wondering. I'll be back soon. As far as I know, it's nothing life-threatening, so I'll put that to rest. As far as I know, anyway. So, but things were to put are bad enough where I've got to take a rest. So, if any of you aren't happy, and you don't want to wait, and you want to move on, and I'll be sad, of course, because the people I've got now are so supportive, and that it's great. But I would understand. I'm not going to judge anyone. If you don't want to wait and you want to move on and unsubscribe, I'd understand. It'd be sad, but I'd understand. I would. But any of you that wants to stay with me, I'll see you in about a week, 2 at the most. If you want to join me on Twitter, you can. Like I say, I'll tweet when I can. And I'll see you, hopefully, very soon. So you take care. Love you all. Bye for now.